Hi guys, this is Terry again from Aussie Diamond Painters. Just going to do a drill with me. This is the picture I'm doing. It's very dark, a lot of 310s. It's a skull for a friend of mine who's really into skulls. So this is where we're up to. So that looks like an eye there, or a eye cavity, and another eye cavity over the other side. I have the tag that I've started here as well, but I just thought I'd give you some updates first. I got a drafting table from Santa, so it's upstairs. It has a diamond painting on it with it's a peacock, very colourful, and I'll be jumping from one to the other because this one's so dark. This one's down in my bedroom, but this one is so dark, so many 310s that I need a bit of colour in my life as well. So I've got that really colourful peacock upstairs, so I'll do a drill with me with that one as well, probably tomorrow, and we'll see how we go. Any other updates? It is stinking hot here. I'm not sure what the temperature is outside. I think it's around 29 Celsius, but it's extremely humid. So I've got the fan going. I have the door shut at the moment while I'm doing the drill with me because there's too much road noise that you would hear if I left the door open. When I go upstairs to the one upstairs, there's air conditioning up there, thank goodness. So I will certainly be switching that on. They say it's going to get to about 36, 38 today, which is pretty hot. But there's only a few days now until I go on a cruise. It's only a 4-day cruise. With my parents and a few of their friends. They wanted me to come along, so coming along I am. And it's only till, I think it's the 5th to the 9th of January or something, and I go back to work on the 10th, so it will be nice and relaxing for before I go back to work, so that'll be good. We don't stop at any ports or anything. It's just the ship heads for a place called Moreton Bay, and then it turns around and comes back again. So no ports, a lot of shows, a lot of entertainment, and some resting time, I'm hoping. So that should be good fun. I packed a diamond painting to go with me just in case. It's just a little blue eye. I don't think I'll get any of it done, but if I didn't have it I'd want it, so I decided to take one with me. My daughter thinks I'm crazy, but anyway, she thinks I'm crazy a lot, so it doesn't mean much. So they're the updates. I go back to work on the 10th of January, and then in February, in the middle of February, I go off on 2 weeks leave, so that will be nice as well. I just have a lot to do at the beginning of the year, so go back for a couple of weeks or 4 weeks, and I have another 2 weeks off. I've been off for a little while now, so they're looking forward, apparently, to having me back, so that I can catch up on some stuff that nobody does when I'm not there. And then I go off again and probably go back to work with a desk full of work again. But anyway, that's life. I prefer to be busy than stuck doing nothing, that's for sure. I hope you can see what I'm doing. I think you can. As I've said before, I'm pretty slow at diamond painting. I'm actually dyslexic. I don't know whether it's got anything to do with the issues I have with diamond painting, but it takes me a second after I get the drill near the spot where it's got to go for me to actually see the spot, so it's hard to explain. It's like once I get close to it, it moves around. And that's on the first bit of the checkerboard. The second bit of the checkerboard's a lot quicker. Because it's in between other ones I've already put down. I don't like using the multi-placer, besides the fact I enjoyed the checkerboard. I just feel uncomfortable using it, so I don't. So I just use checkerboard. So all these have been done with single placer pen, which seemed to take forever, but it didn't really. But I've seen some people who use the multi-placers that would probably take as long to do as placing the single drills, because they spend half the time moving the drills around. I spend half my time getting upside down ones. The black I seem to have issue with, just the colour. I don't know whether it's upside down or around the right way until I sort of get it on the canvas. I try to shake them so that they're up the right way, but sometimes my pen just goes for ones that are upside down. But I find it funny too, like I didn't know that was an eye until I put the camera on. Sorry, this bit here. I didn't realise that was like the cavity of the eye until I put the camera on and saw it. So it'll be interesting to see the rest as I go along. But it's very boring when you're doing all 310s, so I'm trying to get a lot of the 310s out of the way before I get too bored with it. So, because how I normally do diamond paintings, and it sounds funny to some, but it's just the way I do it. I start here, which is where the first bit of the backing paper is, and I start from the bottom, and whatever colour's there is the colour that I'll do right across that bit of backing paper. And then if it's another colour just there, I start that colour and I work all the way across. I don't know why I do it that way. I just started doing it and sort of didn't realise I was doing it for a while. And then all of a sudden, so this one here, of course, was a 310. So I'm doing all the 310s across here to start with, and then I'll go back and fill in the 8s and the pluses and whatever else needs to go in there. So it's pretty boring when it's full of 310s, but I don't know why I do it. I'm not OCD or anything. I don't have any issues that way. Thank goodness. But it's just the way I do it for some reason. My birthday soon. My birthday's coming up as well. So I got the drafting table for Christmas, and I've ordered the drafting chair for my birthday. So that comes up on the 2nd of January. So hopefully it'll come in by then. They didn't have it in stock, so they've had to order it. So hopefully that is supposed to come in on my birthday. So hopefully you'll be able to go and pick it up. And that's only a couple of days before I go on the cruise. So I think we go on the cruise on the 5th. And it's only the 5th to the 9th. So it's only a few days, but there's supposed to be some really good entertainment on it. I'm not sure who, they're keeping it a secret. Going on the Princess line of cruise ships, which is I would never go on this line except for my parents are going and they love it. It's a little bit more older. People seem to go on it from Australia. I'm more into Royal Caribbean. It's between the really young ones and the really, really old ones. So there's a lot of people my age that go on that. The food's great, the entertainment's great, the staff is great. I can't praise them enough, really. They really looked after us last time. Beck came on with me last time, and there was a few issues with some boys that they looked after really well. Beck is quite a pretty girl, and that's not me being biased. I know she is, and so did a lot of the boys on the ship, so there was a few little scuffles over her, and the security guys and that sort of thing looked after Beck very well. She was just 18 when we went on that cruise, so but everything worked out well in the end. Security looked after her and kept an eye on her and that sort of thing, so she could still go to the nightclubs and all of that sort of thing, because the security at the nightclubs knew all about it and also kept an eye on her, so that was good. I didn't have to worry too much about what was going on. And I had sort of like my group of friends from the cruise, so it was all quite good. I can remember though I was single, and this guy kept coming up and asking me to dance, and I refused quite a few times, but this one particular time I gave in and thought, you know, if I let him dance with me, he might just leave me alone. So up we got, and we had a dance, and while I was up there, this lady tapped me on the shoulder, and said to me that she didn't appreciate me dancing with her husband. Oh my God, I nearly fell over. I mean, for this guy to keep coming up and asking me to dance, and he's married and his wife was there at the nightclub, I mean, oh my God, Some men, honestly. I just stuck both hands up in the air and I said, I had no idea he was married. He has asked me to dance quite a few times. And I finally just gave in to see if he would leave me alone. I'll go now and sit down, and I won't dance with him again. I don't know how some wives put up with it. I really don't. But doing it right in front of her, I mean, wow. But each to their own, I suppose. I'll just do this little bit here, and then I'll go on to the tag. Okay. What are some of the different jobs that you've had in your life? Okay, well, we were never allowed to work when we were at school. Dad always said that we would be working enough years after we left school to enjoy our school life. So we used to get pocket money instead of having to go and earn our own money. So I started hairdressing. Because I was dyslexic, I didn't do very well at school, and I wanted to do something where I wouldn't have to read much, of course. So my first job was an apprentice hairdresser, and then the issue with that was I got dermatitis in my hands from all the chemicals and being in water all the time. And then, funnily enough, around about the time I was leaving hairdressing, I saw on a current affair about dyslexia, and I saw, that was what I saw when I looked at a page of writing. So I went and got tested, and yes, I was badly dyslexic, so I had to teach myself how to read and write a different way. Even though it looked the same, a lot of my letters were turned around the wrong way, so I just had to learn that P's were Q's and Q's were P's, and B's and D's and D's and B's and things like that. So I had to relearn how to read and write. And then I went on and did a lot of studying. I did accountancy, I've done law, I've done all sorts of things. And reading was just something everybody else did. I couldn't do it. So, but since I've more or less taught myself how to read and write again, the correct way, you hardly see me without a book. I've always got a book. I actually have a lot of audio books now. I sit in the train and listen to it, and I sit at work and listen to them. But I still do a lot of reading, but it's usually on my Kindle. And things like that. I don't have physical books as such. I use digital. So that's just the way I go. Do you love your job? Not so much at the moment. We're introducing a new computer system into the office. Excuse me. I'll just have a drink. introducing a new computer system into the office, and I'm testing a lot of it, so just going in, run reports on the old system, run reports on the new system, make sure that they balance together, make sure the entries are correct. There's a lot of time entry because I work for solicitors, so that's how they bill. They enter their time. Funnily enough, they call that WIP as well, work in progress. And it's pretty boring, but it's something that's got to be done to make sure that when we do the final conversion from the old system to the new system, that it's all coming over correctly and we're billing our clients correctly and that sort of thing. So it all has to be done. Someone has to do it, so it may as well be me. And when I go back in the new year, my big project then is to go through the new system and document how the business processes will change from the way we're doing it on the old system and the way it'll have to be done on the new system. So what's a good example? Where an LSM, which is a senior type secretary, used to do all the billing, it will now be the junior type person who will be doing the billing, and I have to document the processes they have to go through to bill a matter. I have to probably set up training manuals to train the junior secretaries on how to bill a matter, and then I'm not sure what's happening with the training yet, but last time we put a new system in, I also had to do the training of the secretaries to how to bill matters. So that's just one area, but I'm probably boring you to bits. What's the hardest part of my job at the moment? Staying awake. It's really boring. What was your first job? Well, as I said before, it was hairdressing. After I left school, I was an apprentice hairdresser. If you could have any job you wanted to do, what would it be? I'd love to be a project manager. I can see the errors that people make. Of course, a lot of people do. But I'd like to be the one to run a project and see it to fruition, that sort of thing. I'm just going to have to move the camera for a bit because I'm going to have to go to another section. There we go. And lots and lots and lots of 310. This paper's sticking here though. There we go. Bit of paper stuck on the canvas. I'll just get rid of that. Over there with my rubbish pile. Okay. Turn the light pad. Just move the camera again for a second. There we go. See, that looks better in the camera than it does in real, because you can really see the different details of the skull. So that's good. Here we go again with 3 10s. Covered up my storytelling. If you had time to do volunteer work, what would you do? That's easy. Father Chris O'Reilly here runs a charity called Youth Off the Streets. I would love to work with them. I just don't seem to ever have the time to do anything like that. Yeah, that's what and do whatever they wanted me to do. It's funny, when I was a child, I always wanted to, how do you explain it, set up a piece of property, and on that property you'd have a lot of cottages. You would have the children sleeping, like the cottages would be like a 3-bedroom place. You'd have a bedroom for 2 kids in each place, and you would have a retired couple that couldn't afford to pay rent and that sort of thing, living in that cottage as well, looking after those two boys, or even more, 3 or 4 boys, like grandparent type thing, and setting them on the right path and that sort of thing. I would love to do something, set up something like that. So then you're looking after retired people who can't afford to pay rent in the open market, because it is extremely expensive to rent properties here in Australia, and you're looking after the kids as well. So I think that would be a good setup, but I've never had the money to do it, so I haven't been able to, even though I would dearly love to do something like that. And I wouldn't really have much to do with the day-to-day running of it. It would be up to the people on the property to look after each other, and raise cattle and sheep for their food, and grow some veggies and things like that. Be not self-sustaining, but I think having the responsibility of feeding a group of people would help with these young people, give them some responsibility, and keeping them off the streets would be good too, of course. That would be the main priority of the whole thing. But also teaching them responsibility, teaching them life skills. You could even have some retired teachers or something and educate them in some ways. Like, some could be school teachers and some could be accountants or TAFE teachers or things like that can give them an education on something that they can use when they come of age and are no longer there or don't want to be there anymore. At least they've got a little bit of a background that might help them in the future. I don't know why I've always thought of doing that. I went to school in an area where there was a lot of homeless children used to hang out, not far from school, and maybe I saw them and it sort of developed from there. But what takes the biggest chunk of your paycheck? Rent. As I said, rent's fairly expensive here, and it takes a fair chunk of my paycheck. Housing here is very expensive, whether you're buying or renting. Like in a not very affluent area, you could buy a 2 or 3 bedroom apartment and it could cost you anywhere up to 1.8 million. Or if you want to go into an area where you wouldn't be able to go out at night, or you wouldn't be game enough to go out at night, just in case, you're looking at 300,000-400,000. But that's not a place where I would like to live. So renting it is, until I win my millions on lotto or the lottery or something, which I'm sure I'll never win because I never enter. So you got to be in it to win it, as they say. Are you satisfied with how you spend your money? What would you change? I'm not too bad on how I spend my money. I'd like to be able to save more, and that'd be to either buy a place or travel, or both. Sort of save half and half for travel, half to buy a place. But buying a place I don't think is possible for me at my age now. I lost a lot of money in divorce, and yeah, I don't think I'll ever be able to afford to buy another place. How do you replenish your energy? I sleep or have a bit of chocolate. That can replenish my energy. What about religion? What about religion has changed for you as you've aged? Don't think go to religion. What artistic endeavours have you tried and decided you were bad at? Drawing. I can't draw to save my life. Stick people don't even look like stick people. What current world events are really troubling you? First thing comes to mind is ISIS. That troubles me. It doesn't matter where you are, who you are, what you are. You could be in trouble just for being at the wrong place at the wrong time. That troubles me a lot. I don't live my life being scared at all. I work next door to the Lint Cafe, which was our first major siege. I don't know whether you American guys have heard about it, but I work right next door to that. And I think if I was really scared, I wouldn't have gone back to work. My daughter didn't want me to go back to work, but it was one man doing one bad thing and he should have been in jail anyway, because he was charged with attempted murder of his ex-wife and things like that, and he wasn't in jail. So and he shouldn't have been allowed into the country to start with either, because of his past history. So that's the worst one we've had. But we've also had some stabbings with ISIS background, and shootings and cars, but nowhere near as much as other countries have had to suffer it. What dreams have you given up on as unrealistic? I wouldn't say I've totally given up, but I'm almost there. It's a dream that I've had for years, and that is my own online home business, where I can work from anywhere in the world virtually, and still be able to make an income from it. What has been the hardest thing for you to face or learn? It would have to do with domestic violence. I feel that at first I thought, it was normal, and every man did bad things, is a better word to say, to their wives. But I finally realised that that's not the case. I don't know, it's very naive, I suppose. I was married very young. I was married at 20. And I suppose I felt like it was the normal way things happened. I don't know. But yeah. Let's go to the next page. What is hard about being a parent? For me at the moment, my daughter would like to have a baby. And I think that's wonderful. And I can't wait for it to happen. But I just hope because I went through much trying to have children. I was on IVF for 10 years and maybe longer than that, trying to have children, and I couldn't have any, as I've said before. My daughter's adopted, so I ended up not having any children, biological children, but Becky is the best thing that ever happened to me. So sunshine in darkness, as they say. But it's I just hope that she doesn't have any problems the same as what I did, because I don't know how she'd cope. She's not a very she's not as strong as I am, I don't think. She may be, it may come to pass that she is, but time will tell, I suppose. Just have to wait and see. I just hope she doesn't have any trouble anyway. I hope when she decides to try, that it happens for her fairly quickly. Got a bit of yellow stuff on my canvas. There we go. Hope I got enough off. Yeah, so I just hope that when she tries, it's not too much of a job for her to fall pregnant. She does have a couple of little issues that she knows about. She has polycystic ovaries on one ovary. But I think that's pretty common these days for some reason. I'm not sure why. What is hard about not being a parent? Well, I am a parent, but I'm not a biological parent. But what I found difficult was not being able to have children. My auntie, my mother's sister, had 10. My mother had 3, one after the other. My sister just she had 2 children, but both times she decided to have a child, and both times she was already pregnant. So even on the pill, people can get pregnant, as my sister is testimony of that. It just seemed like one minute she told me that they were going to try and have a baby, and she was already pregnant. And then for the second one, it was a second marriage for her. The first marriage broke up, and they were living together for a little while. They decided to get married. They decided to try and have a child almost straight away. So she went off the pill, and as soon as she went off the pill, she was pregnant. And here's little old me battling along, desperate to have children, and couldn't have any. And I was going to have at least 6. I wanted a big family, and Beck was the only one we could get via adoption. So, and she's just like my own. She's a great kid. She's very caring and loving and supportive, believe it or not, for a child of her age. So yeah, she's a good kid. As people say, she's a good kid when she's asleep, but no, she's a good kid. What is one of the worst things that could happen to you? Lose my sight. I'd hate to lose my sight. Can't read, can't craft, can't watch TV. I think that would be one of the worst senses that you could lose. Like if I couldn't walk, I could still craft. I could still read. I could still knit. I could still crochet. Still make jewelry. Still do paper crafts. not as easily as I do now, but a lot easier than if I lost my sight. And even my hearing, you could still craft even though you couldn't hear, but you couldn't watch TV, you couldn't, a lot of things you couldn't do without your hearing. So yeah. What is something that scares you that you would never even try? I would love to jump out of an aeroplane. I would love to have that feeling of freedom. And total oneness with the world, but I really am scared of heights. And I'd never do it, but I would love to do it, if you know what I mean. So yeah, jump out of a plane. What is something that you've never done that you would like to try? Pottery. I'd love to give pottery a go, but to do pottery you need too much equipment that I couldn't afford to buy, like the wheel and the kiln and all the bits and pieces. It's a very expensive craft to start, and you'd have to be, pretty sure that you really wanted to do it. Like diamond painting costs you, $20 to give it a go, or less than $20 to give it a go. Crocheting costs you, $5 or $10 to give it a go. You just need a ball of wool and crochet hook. Same with knitting, you just need a ball of wool and knitting needles. And paper craft, you only need a for the 3D tile, which is what I enjoy doing. You just need 6 pictures and a pair of scissors and some glue. But with pottery, you need the potter's wheel and the kiln and everything else, and it's just very expensive. Another thing I would like to try, and it sounds funny from a woman, I know, because I don't think I've ever seen a woman do it, is wood turning. Again, it'd be a very expensive hobby to start, and if you didn't like it, you also need the room, and you also need somewhere where you can get things really dirty, I would say. With wood shards and that sort of thing, you'd need a garage, and I don't have one of them. And things like that, I think. What time are we up to? Oh wow, 49 minutes. We have been doing some diamond painting. Well, I suppose I better stop. I hope you've enjoyed this. I have enjoyed doing some drilling while chatting with you guys. I may even try a live one day. I don't think I have enough subscribers yet. I think when I get up to 100, I might try live and see how we go. Of course it'll be different time in America, so I don't think I would ever have a set time. I think if I felt like it, I'd just do it, and see how many people came, because I think our time, like while you're sleeping I'm awake, and in America anyway, while you're awake I'm asleep most of the time, or at work, one of the two. But anyway, I might give it a go when I get to 100 subscribers. You never know. You never know your luck in the big city. And also, I don't know, we're on a thing called NBN, which is really hopeless for our internet. I seem to buffer a lot, that sort of thing, so I may not even be able to do a live, I don't know. But we can always try and see how we go, I suppose. And on that note, I will see you next time, and I hope you enjoyed this. I certainly did. And I will talk to you soon. Again, this is Terry from Aussie Diamond Painters, and this is the picture that I'm doing downstairs at the moment. So I'll talk to you soon. Have a great day, morning, night, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye bye for now.